Welcome back to class. Defense Against the Dark Arts Part 3, the Riddikulus spell. So if you've seen Harry Potter, there's a scene where the students are learning from Professor Lupin how to combat what's called a Boggart.
That's a Boggart, that is.
Now, can anybody tell me what a Boggart looks like?
No one knows. Boggarts are shapeshifters. They take the shape of whatever a particular person fears the most. That's what makes them
So terrifying, yes.
A Boggart is an entity that is a shapeshifter, and it appears to be the thing that you fear the most. Now, why are we going over this in our Defense Against the Dark Arts? Because this is actually how spiritual entities work. They don't have the authority to harm you physically. They can't pick up a knife and stab you in the chest. They can only convince you that you're unsafe. They can only create a delusion of fear that becomes what keeps you in this analysis paralysis, in this stuck, fearful, and possessed sort of state. So if we go into the Bible, in Ephesians 6, we talk about the armor of God. And this is the part of the Bible that talks about these spiritual principles, right? We don't fight against flesh and blood. We fight against the principalities, the spiritual powers that are working behind the scenes that we can't fully see. And so it proceeds to tell us how to put on this armor and protect ourselves from those spiritual things. And again, it's really all about being on the offense, not being in that defense mode, but remembering that God is in control, that if it's a spiritual battle, then how am I supposed to fight on a physical level, right? I don't want to be fighting against the physical manifestation of what that is, because then what I'm doing is I'm just feeding the fear. I'm fighting my family members. I'm fighting my partner. I'm fighting against my boss, against all of the things that are the surface level, and you're not really getting to the root. So in the very first sentence of the armor of God, what we're putting on is the belt of truth. Now, in the King James Version, it says to protect your loins with the truth. And so I was digesting this and I'm like, this has to do with our vulnerability, our Achilles heel, if you will, because the enemy, he's going to take cheap shots at you. He's not going to go for the smart, creative. He's really not intelligent.
Coward.
This enemy is a coward. He is going to take the place where you are the most vulnerable and attack you there. We protect those vulnerabilities with being rooted in truth. This ties in really well with the Riddikulus spell. And in this scene, you'll see Ron, a Boggart, appears as a spider, and he puts the spider on skates. And what Lupin says is that the word is not enough, or the spell is not enough. What really gets a Boggart to go down is laughter.
The incantation alone is not enough. What really finishes a Boggart is laughter. You need to force it to assume a shape you find truly amusing. Run! Concentrate, face your fear. Be brave. Wander the ready.
Riddikulus.
See? Very good, very good. Marvelous. Absolutely very enjoyable.
So this spell, this thing that we're doing to combat these Boggarts is really about having your inner state shift from fear to joy, which is the truth, right? The truth of the situation is that we are connected to eternal joy. We are safe and abundant, and we can step into that joyful state at any moment. Now, how do we actually do this? In meditation, when I'm leading a meditation, sometimes people will snore, right? People go to sleep. And sometimes people in the room will get really annoyed with it. And so I'll tell them, imagine a sleeping puppy. And then suddenly it's adorable and not annoying anymore. And the same goes with, like, sometimes we work in treatment. So in clinical meditation settings, you have people coming in and out of the room and pulling people out to see the doctor and whatnot, and they'll slam the door on accident, and everyone in the room is suddenly enraged inside, and their meditation is ruined. And so I'll teach people this concept of using the power of your creative mind to shift the perspective of that situation. So imagine an angel walking in the room, and now I am in a different experience than what's appearing to me. I've changed the Boggart, right? The thing that's appearing as a trigger, I can change that to have a completely different meaning. So that's what the ridiculous spell is about. You'll see in this scene, each person has a unique fear that shows up, and therefore each person's ridiculous spell is completely unique to them. It's not a one size fits all.
Ridiculous!
And you have to use your creativity in order to get yourself into a state of laughter. It's not easy because this is your greatest fear, right? So in the movie Hercules, Hades uses Hercules' Achilles heel. He's super strong. He has these godlike powers. His weak point is not feeling loved because he never fit in with his family. He never had anywhere that he belonged. And so he just wants to be loved. So he sends this girl, and this girl serves as a distraction to him, which is how he kind of takes control of that situation. So I've noticed that has happened in my life, where there's a pivotal key moment where I'm shifting into something powerful in my life, and suddenly a guy comes into my life that I really shouldn't be messing around with, and they appear to be like everything I've ever wanted, and really there's hella red flags, and it's just a distraction from what I really should be focusing on. That's my experience of the enemy taking a cheap shot. He will use what he knows is really difficult for you to say no to, and he will offer that to you to try to tempt you away from God's purpose for your life.
And this is why it's important to constantly be doing the inner work to determine, we all have weak points, we're human beings, right? I get in trouble when I try to think of myself as like this guru that can go through all these situations, especially romantically, without getting hurt. And then I end up destroyed because I come back to I'm a human being. And it's so difficult when you're like in a situation, you're emotionally and energetically attached to it. It's like someone that's in a toxic relationship. Every single person in their life can see it so clear as day, but they can't, right? Because when you're in it, it's difficult. So that's why it's so important to take the time before we get into situations, before things come up, to understand, where are my weak points, right? What can I be looking out for, so that I know when things come up, I'm going to say, okay, this is a red flag.
We talked about in the video before, taking that time, that few moments before you go to sleep, when you wake up, to just reflect and having that consistent meditation-like practice. It's about having a relationship to self. Even if you're not like into personal development, I hate that personal development is like a special interest. Everyone should be a little bit self-aware.
Yeah, interested in themselves. I mean,
Exactly.
at the end of the day, without doing these things, you're just a victim to your external environment, right? When your focus is always outward, that means your emotional attachment is always outward. So every little thing that happens to you in traffic, at work, it's just going to wreck your world every time, all these little things. Whereas when you take the time to root yourself into who I am, what I believe in, those things just don't have the same weight because I know what I'm rooted in.
Exactly, the truth. And that's what that reflection is going to offer. We have to figure out what our weak points are so that we know, like, people love to put affirmations on sticky notes and put them on their mirrors, right? But a lot of times it's just this surface level thing that's not really, we don't even know what truth we need to be rooting ourselves in every single day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you afraid of poverty? Are you in scarcity mode since you were a child? Are you afraid of rejection? Are you afraid of failure? Are you afraid of being alone? These are the real experiences of a Boggart. It's not going to necessarily appear on a physical three-dimensional plane unless we are serving those thoughts so much so that we create beliefs around it, which create actions, which create results. So we are experiencing our inner world on an external level. Being a victim to the external circumstances doesn't have to be your life. Your life can be extraordinarily beyond your wildest dreams if we take the time to reflect internally and shift those things, to lose power, those limiting beliefs, those fears, to lose their power. Because again, they don't have authority to harm you. It's literally just a parasitic thought form.
Facts.
So I posted on Facebook asking Harry Potter fans to let me know what their Boggart would be. And a couple people said some things like the demon from The Exorcist. And they were also a little bit confused. Like, I don't have any phobias, right? And I want to take us away a little bit from the movie because the movie is a symbolic expression of this, and they're also children. We're working with children. So what their biggest fear is spiders and Professor Snape, right? And that can be accurate, and this can be applied to phobias. And what we are battling with in a spiritual sense is usually an internal battle. We're fighting this war inside. So for me, if a Boggart showed up right now, it would take the shape of somebody, a female figure, telling me that nobody likes me, that you're a bitch, everyone thinks this, that, and the third of you. What I received while meditating and thinking about this Riddikulus spell, there's a content creator named Tony Statovci.
You got it.
Yes. I'm obsessed with him. He makes the stupidest videos ever, and they're so funny. Lots of SpongeBob references. In his videos, he has these different characters, and he'll step into these like creepy, like dark immigrant parents for no reason, and then he's like, I hate you. You know, like, what are you doing with your life, you bum? I'll clip it. I'll put it in there for you guys.
Mama, have you seen my keys? I don't know where they are, like, at all. What's that in your ears? What'd you get? What's going on with your ears? Oh, I got my ears pierced. So, okay, you're a loser. Okay. You'll never be anything. No. I need you to hear me. I have kids in my country that no, stop talking. I have kids in my country that would kill to be in America, and you're getting your ears pierced. What? Look at your hair. Look at your hair. Do you like men? Do you like men? Okay. Always remember, I love you, though.
Whenever I notice, and this is that awareness, it takes a lot of awareness to get here, but when I notice that voice is coming in my head going, nobody likes you, I will actually put it into Tony's voice, saying those things in his character, and I can almost see his face. He has like long hair, and it's like, nobody actually likes you. And it actually makes me giggle, and that's how I know it's the correct Riddikulus spell for me. It has to make you laugh. You can't just create a Riddikulus spell around concepts. Like, oh, I know the truth is that I am lovable. This isn't true about me. We know all that stuff conceptually, but the switch is to make it funny, right? This is as old as time. You know, when you go on stage to do a speech or make a performance and people say, picture them in their underwear. It takes away the power of that situation. Each person in the stands is like just a person in underwear. It creates this perspective shift that recognizes the comedy of life.
You have to transmute the energy.
Yeah.
You have to get out of the loop and get into a different loop.
What's your Boggart?
I was actually thinking about it as you were talking, and I'm like, I feel like a Boggart for me is like letting people down and being like a disappointment, and like people like literally walking out of my life. I guess my Riddikulus spell is to imagine myself basically in like a giant like action figure box, and like everyone's running into the store like it's Black Friday and like shoving each other out of the way to get to me because I'm like so amazing, and you know, like who doesn't want?
You're the TV on.
Yeah, like literally on the Black Friday TV.
It's so good. Wow. Okay, so that's how you're going to know that you have accurately found the Riddikulus spell for you. And the Boggarts can take different shape, right? It's a shapeshifter. And so throughout your life, when you do different work, you're going to have different Boggarts. You're going to have different fears come up, slightly different shapes. So apply it until it's no longer funny, and then find a new one. And you'll know when you start giggling.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Until next time.
So please let us know in the comments, what is your Boggart and what is your Riddikulus spell? By the way, no wands are needed for this exercise.
And never forget, you're the shit.
See you in the next video or on Friday night at 7:15. You know the drill.